The Falcon and the Winter Soldier has just reached its conclusion with an action-packed, meaningful finale, so full spoilers ahead, let's talk about everything and finally grade The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. As the Flag Smashers take the GRC hostage, Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes prepare for action, as well as a third party they did not expect. But before I dive deep into my review, I want to know your thoughts on The Falcon and Winter Soldier. Let me know your thoughts on the show as a whole. Let me know how you rank the episodes. Did you like this finale more or the WandaVision finale more? All of that in the comments below. Start the conversation. It's the most important part. And while you're down there, if you're new here, please consider clicking the subscribe button. It does wonders to get my content out there. And don't forget to click the notifications bell so you can be aware of any time I upload a new video. This episode from the beginning is action. It just goes into it. We have the Flag Smashers kidnapping the members of the GRC in trucks. They have people infiltrated everywhere, and so the plan starts to go in their favor as Bucky is trying to stop them from kidnapping these people, while at the same time in comes Sam Wilson, not the Falcon but Captain America, and holy crap, this suit looks awesome. I'm actually not a big fan of the suit in the comics, but the adaptation they did to put it on the show is magnificent. I love the bulky shoulders, the big chest, love the wings. I just love how it looks, the colors popping, and it looks great on Anthony Mackie. He just looks like this huge dude, which I'm kind of guessing it might be a reference to Isaiah Bradley's look as Captain America in the comics, and they kind of paid homage to that with the way they constructed this suit for the live-action Sam Wilson. And he has this awesome fight with Batroc at that assembly room that the GRC people are at in the last episode before they start evacuating, and as Bucky is trying to set the people of the GRC free from those trucks, the Flag Smashers are just kicking his ass. They're too much for him, but Bucky focuses on his priority, and that is saving people. That is something we will get to more in a little bit when it comes to Sam Wilson, Captain America. I just love saying that. But as Bucky is trying to take care of the Flag Smashers while also trying to save the people of the GRC from the truck, in walks John Walker, coming for revenge once more. And I gotta say, the little discussion that he has with Carly in this moment, where she says, your friend's life didn't matter, I don't care about people like that, kind of puts you on his side, which is weird. I mean, it is a good thing given what happens eventually this character in this episode, but then by the end, it feels weird. But like right now, after this little argument, I was on John Walker's side, and it still baffles me that this little girl, who sure has a super soldier serum, she's super strong, can go hand to hand and have an even fight, and even sometimes put down a military-trained, super huge guy. It just feels weird, and despite the little progress that we've made with the Flag Smashers and Carly as a character in those past few episodes, I still don't care enough about her. And it turns out the Flag Smashers ended up, being the true main, like, big villains of the show, and yeah, it should have been John Walker, it should have been Zemo. The fact that they even had the possibilities, it should have been the power broker, which we'll get into. The fact that they had the possibilities of all these other more interesting villains kind of even damages the show more, having chosen to have the Flag Smashers as main villains. But as all this is happening, Bucky trying to save the people of the GRC, John Walker trying to kick the ass of the Flag Smashers and get revenge for his friend Lamar, aka Battlestar, Sam Wilson is having this amazing helicopter chase over the Hudson River. I think it's the Hudson River. I've never been to New York. I don't know. But he's following this helicopter with the shield in his wings, in his new suit. It looks awesome. It's extremely well shot. And his priority throughout this chase is saving people. It's not catching the bad guy. It's not going to help Bucky or John Walker to kick the Flag Smashers' asses. It's to save the people that are being held hostage in a helicopter. There's a moment where a police helicopter comes into the scene and they get taken down. Sam and a new Red Wing save them, and Sam drops into this bridge. I believe it's Brooklyn Bridge. Again, never been to New York. I don't know. And there are people there filming, and they see Sam Wilson in his Captain America suit, and we go back to John Walker and Bucky, and they have their hands full. Bucky gets taken down to this construction site that is below street level. One of the Flag Smashers goes after them, and they're getting desperate. They need to make their point heard, and they start to push this truck with GRC people inside to go down the scaffolding and fall and, hopefully for them, kill these people. And we have this moment, a choice that John Walker has. He can go after Carly, or he can go save the GRC people. And as I've said throughout this show, go to any of my other reviews for the episodes, I said throughout the show, John Walker is, in his heart, truly a good man. He started out as a good man, he was corrupted, and then we have a redemption moment for him. He chooses not to go after Carly, he chooses to go save these people, he grabs onto the truck, he holds it on, eventually more Flag Smashers come, and he gets taken down, they all fall, the truck is about to fall, and Sam Wilson, Captain America, is here. After he took care of the policeman, after he took care of the other helicopter, he saw that there was a woman inside who could pilot a helicopter, so together, he worked together with the people he's trying to save, and took care of business there, and made sure they're safe before going and kicking more ass. That is a fucking hero. And so Sam Wilson comes in time, and now he has, I know it's not two Red Wings, but it's two smaller versions of Red Wings, and he puts them on the truck, and with the help of his backpack, his rocket backpack, and these two small Red Wings, he pushes the truck up and makes sure the people are safe. And we have a callback to earlier in the show where a guy says, that's the Black Falcon, and someone says, no, that's Captain America. It's a moment that a lot of people will say it's cheesy. I will not. I love this moment, very reminiscent of the original Spider-Man from Sam Raimi, where people start throwing shit at the Green Goblin and say, you mess with Spider-Man when you mess with New York. I thought it was beautiful, and it starts to build for the speech, the Captain America speech we eventually get in this episode. And the Flag Smashers, after this, flee off the scene. They go to this underground place filled with construction parts, I don't even know what to call it, and John Walker, Sam Wilson, Captain America, and Bucky team up and they go after them. John Walker takes off in a direction when he hears the little whistle, the signal that the Flag Smashers had, and Bucky decides, I'm going with him. Because they're still not sure if they should trust him, so I really like that detail, and Sam goes on his own. But eventually you find out that the person who was whistling, and Carly was following this whistling signal, was Sharon. She's a power broker, which is, oh man, it is underwhelming, but I think it's better we talk about why it is underwhelming when we go into the post-credit scenes. Yes, there's a post-credit scene, but so Sharon reveals herself to be the power broker, and in comes Batroc as well. They have this little standoff and they end up shooting one another. Sharon shoots Batroc, and it's not clear if he died or not. Carly shoots Sharon, and then Carly ends up fighting Sam, who arrives on the scene just after these shots are fired, and Sam is just basically defending himself. He does not want to fight Carly. He believes in her cause, just not what she's doing, how she's going about her cause. Once again, Sam Wilson is trying to save a person, not detain a villain. But unfortunately, it ends up bad for Carly. Sharon steps in and shoots Carly dead, which could be a way to hide that she is the power broker from Sam, because I don't think Sam realized that she was the power broker. It's weird that Sam completely forgot that there was a power broker and didn't even question anything about it, but I understood. My reading of that scene was he did not understand, and maybe that was a little bit of that behind the reasoning for Sharon to shoot Carly, not just save Sam. And so after that, we have Sam carrying Carly's body into the streets to show the world what happened, and he has this fantastic speech about asking why. Let's help people, let's compromise, let's try to understand the other side. I am absolutely not doing this speech any justice. So even if you don't watch the episode, if you just want to watch this speech, please go watch it. That is a Captain America speech right there. And after the speech, he goes to check on Sharon. He reunites with Bucky, who calls him Cap. And I love this small moment, the banter between them so freaking much. And Sharon is gonna get taken to the hospital. She's probably gonna get a full pardon. And again, we'll see that in the post-credit scene, and I'll talk more about Sharon when we get to that. But as Bucky and Sam are walking off, someone in the back calls to Sam, "Hey, Cap," which again, little details like this are just beautiful to see, given what it offers to the arc of Sam Wilson and how people are recognizing him as Captain America. I think it's sensational. He talks about more Flag Smashers being on the loose. They located one of them, so Cap is going after them, but we see the Flag Smashers, like the main core group we saw throughout this episode with Carly, they're being arrested, and the guard who's putting them on the truck for them to get sent to the raft says before closing the door, "One world, one people." Their truck starts going, it explodes, and we see Zemo's butler in a car looking at it, looking on as this happens, and then we see Zemo in the raft getting the news, which is weird because Zemo went with the Wakandans. Shouldn't he be in Wakanda? I don't know the jurisdiction of Wakanda, of the raft, but, you know, he went with the Wakandans. Why is he in the raft? I just found it weird. I don't know if I'm the only one. And so after this, we have, yes, a weird scene, because we built John Walker as this good man who was being corrupted and cemented his position as a villain when he killed one of the Flag Smashers with a shield in the middle of the street, bloodying the legacy of that shield. And then earlier in this episode, we have him choosing to save people instead of killing, choosing to be a good man. But now he's still working with Val. We have the US agent suit reveal, which looks amazing, looks great. Don't get me wrong, I love the look of the suit. It still feels weird that he's working with Val because she totally feels like a villain. She's not a power broker, it turns out. No confirmation if she's Madam Hydra. I still think she is, though. It's just weird that we offered this dude a redemption, which I think was too soon because he got to be villain for one episode. But then, forget about that, we turn him into a bad guy again, or at least he's going to work for the bad guys. If anything, it shows us that working with these people at some point, John Walker's going to realize, wait, I'm not doing a good thing here. I'm not being a good person. You guys are evil. I'm going to go back and team up with Bucky and Sam. It just felt completely weird. Like, at first, I enjoyed the redemption, even though it was too soon, too sudden, too rushed, immediately after he becomes a villain. But then we have this, and it makes things even more weird. So I'm really not sure how to feel about the whole John Walker conclusion in this show. What follows is not the most emotional scene in this episode, but one of the most emotional scenes in this entire show, and that is Bucky goes to Yori to tell him about the truth. In all honesty, I was kind of underwhelmed in this scene. It kind of didn't stop. It kind of gave us highlights of the conversation, it felt like, but we didn't pause for a moment to see Yori receive this news. We didn't pause there to sit with Bucky as he prepared himself to tell him the truth. We see him telling him the truth. It was the Winter Soldier, and the Winter Soldier is me. I had no choice. And then immediately cuts to Bucky leaving the room, and I wanted more from that scene. I wanted to see Yori angry. I wanted to see Yori sad. I'm not saying Yori should forgive Bucky, but I wanted more out of that scene. It just felt lacking to me. And finally, the best scene. And you know what? Let's talk about the final scene first, which is this highlight of Sam and Bucky having fun back in Sam's place with all the people enjoying a barbecue, having fun with Sam's nephews and with the local people, taking pictures and whatnot, and finally being together as co-workers, as partners, as friends. That's a really cool scene. Glad we end up the episode there. And I want to talk about the title card that emerges afterwards, but let's talk about the penultimate scene, where we see Isaiah Bradley seeing Sam's speech on TV, talking about how we should help the people and not call them terrorists, and Sam goes to him, and they have this conversation about Isaiah kind of approving of Sam being Captain America. He's still very cynical about the change that it will bring, but Sam has got to do this. It's the most surefire way to guarantee that change will come. And so Sam has prepared a surprise for him. And he takes him and Elijah to the Captain America Museum, where Sam, I assume, has put up a statue of Isaiah Bradley telling his story. And it's a magnificent statue, and it's a beautiful scene. I teared up in the scene. I thought it was beautiful, I thought it was meaningful, and I thought it was important. It's important. This story is important for Sam Wilson, for Isaiah Bradley, and for all the people who relate to their struggle, and it really left its impact. Which is why I even loved even more the title card that emerges at the end, Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which tells me two things. Yes, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is a one-season show, it's done, because it's now going to be called Captain America and the Winter Soldier, and we're starting the show over. We're not having that as season 2 of this show, but we're starting a new show as Captain America and the Winter Soldier. It's just continuing the story with these two characters who we love, and I cannot wait to see it. I thought that was perfect. I think that is perfect still, and it just leaves you more pumped for them to finally announce, yeah, this is the show that will follow up this miniseries that you just saw. So let's talk about the post-credit scene before we go into final thoughts, where Sharon Carter gets her pardon, she gets her position back, and then she goes outside, she calls someone. Henry Jackman's score in this scene is mwah, fantastic. She calls someone, we don't know who it is. I'm assuming it's Ross, Thunderbolt Ross, but who knows. Super Soldier Serum is not around anymore, but we're going to have access to nuclear weapons and all this military extravaganza, so be prepared, because I'm going to call you very soon. Why? Yeah, I get that Sharon is the power broker. What was her motivation? What is she mad at? What does she want out of this? It just felt weird that all the reveal for her was, yeah, I am the power broker. That was really all there was to it. I never understood Sharon's intentions. They haven't even revealed it. Now, it does feel weird. It does feel underwhelming. But maybe she will be the main villain in Captain America and Winter Soldier Season 1. Who knows? I certainly don't. But it felt really odd that we end this without answering so many questions. Because as soon as you tell us that Sharon Carter is the power broker, I'm going to have a lot more questions. And they didn't answer any of them. So for final thoughts, The Falcon and Winter Soldier is a really fun show with great highlights. I think it lacks its full potential. I think the main villains of this show are mediocre. They never went over just being mediocre. I think John Walker is such a more interesting character. And again, this is going to have a season 2. We don't know what's happening yet. But this final decision with the redemption, but then he's still working with the villains, is still very odd. I really like when they focused on this descent of John Walker into villainy and into evil and into darkness. It's a show that ends up leaving more questions unanswered than what you had at the beginning. But what it does for our main characters, the progression of Bucky and Sam throughout the show, I thought was spectacular. I thought the acting was stellar. I thought the writing for them was incredibly compelling, complex, and meaningful. I thought this show talked about a lot of important things, and for my money, it talked about them very, very well. And from the beginning, you could see the direction the show had for these characters, and it committed to that. I think the action is spectacular. I think it opens a lot of doors, interesting doors, filled with potential for the upcoming seasons that I cannot wait to see. I think a lot of it left lacking in terms of the villains, in terms of the secondary villains. And again, the villains side of the show just kind of didn't feel like it knew what it wanted to go at. It kind of placed all these characters to see who we responded to more, but the show was done before the first episode even came out. They couldn't possibly be waiting for our response to see what they did with each character and who they made the main villain. So what ends up coming across is that they had this first season as a testing ground for villains, for Zemo, for John Walker, for Sharon Carter, and now they're only fulfilling their true potential in the first season of Captain America and Winter Soldier, which again, I'm so excited about, but this show was not everything it could be. What it does well, it does fantastically well for our main characters. Our heroes are the heart and soul of this show, and they really work. Everything else can be good and was good at points, it just feels uneven compared to the good elements of this show. I'm giving the Falcon and the Winter Soldier a B. So those are my final thoughts on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier on the entire season. This finale was really good. I would put it as my number 3 episode of the show. The top 3 episodes of the show are really strong. Episode 5, Episode 4, and now Episode 6. I really like Episode 1 as well. I really like Episode 2. I think Episode 3 is the one that leaves it lagging. But even if you compare the two parts, it's just, the first 3 and the second 3, there's a big gap between them. So now throwing it over to you, what did you think of the Falcon and Winter Soldier, the entire show? Rank the episodes, rank these episodes with WandaVision, let me know how you rank the MCU with the Falcon and Winter Soldier, all of that good stuff. And if you've watched this far, please consider clicking the subscribe button if you haven't yet. It makes you aware of all my content, and if you ever get tired of my face or voice, you can always subscribe. It's all fine and dandy. Thank you so much for watching. You are the best. Check out my review for episode 7 of Invincible. It's already up on the channel. Later today, I will give you my review of episode 4, Shaman King, and of course, Mortal Kombat. That's coming out today. That comes out today, and I'll be reviewing it as well. So until then, love each other and love the movies.